Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anggita Fatiha, and here I would like to present about morphology. As we know, words are an important part of linguistic knowledge and constitute a component of our mental grammars. But one can learn thousands of words in a language and still not know the language. Without knowledge of the language, one can tell how many words are in an utterance. Knowing a word means knowing that a particular sequence of sounds is associated with a particular meaning. And then we have content and function words. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs are the content words. Content words are sometimes called the open class words because we can and regularly do add new words to these classes, such as Bollywood, love, this, and 24/7 are pronounced 24/7. Other classes of words do not have a clear lexical meanings or obvious concepts associated with them, including conjunctions such as and, or, and but, and then there's also prepositions such as in and of, the articles the and a or an, and also pronouns such as it. These kind of words are called function words because they specify grammatical relations and have little or no semantic content. For example, the articles indicate whether a noun is definite or indefinite, the boy or a boy. Morphemes, the minimal units of meaning. The linguistic term for the most elemental unit of grammatical form is morpheme. The word is derived from the Greek word morph, meaning form. If Godwin had taken a linguistics course, he would have said more correctly into morphemes. Impossible. And the study of the internal structure of words and of their rules by which words are formed is morphology. Morphology is part of our grammatical knowledge of a language. Like most linguistic knowledge, this is generally unconscious knowledge. For the example of one morpheme, there are boy, desire, and morph. This is considered as one morpheme. And then there is also two morphemes, like boy plus is become boy is, and then desire plus able become desirable, and such, like three morphemes, four morphemes, and more than four morphemes you can see on the page. A morpheme, the minimal linguistic unit, is thus an arbitrary union of a sound and a meaning, or grammatical function that cannot be further analyzed. It is often called a linguistic sign, not to be confused with the sign of some languages. The meaning of a morpheme must be constant. Next, we have bound and free morphemes. In bound and free morphemes, we have prefixes and suffixes. Some morphemes like boy, desire, gentle, and man may constitute words by themselves. These are free morphemes. Other morphemes like ish, nes, li, pre, trans, and on are never words by themselves, but are always parts of words. These affixes are bound morphemes. And next we have infixes. Some languages also have infixes, morphemes, that are inserted into other morphemes. For example, in Pontoc, language of Philippines, in this language the infix is inserted after the first consonant of the noun or adjective. And then there is also circumfixes. Some languages have circumfixes, morphemes that are attached to a past morpheme both initially and finally. And then next we are going to talk about roots and stems. In languages that have circumfixes, the root is the form around which the circumfix attach. For example, the Chickasaw root chom in ikchokmo, he isn't good. Nouns and verbs are built on a foundation of three consonants, and one derives related words by varying the pattern of vowels and syllables. When a root morpheme is combined with an affix, it forms a stem. Bound words. Bound words do not occur in isolation, and they acquire meaning only in combination with other morphemes. For example, words of Latin origin such as receive, conceive, perceive, and deceive share a common root, receive. And then next we have rules of word formation. Adjective plus EY become verb to make adjective. Verb plus cation become noun, the process of making adjective. This is a rules of word formation. And then we have derivation of morpheme. Bond morphemes like EY and cation are called derivational morphemes. When they are added to a place, a new word with a new meaning is derived. The form that results from the addition of a derivational morpheme is called a derived word. These are some examples of derivational morpheme. And then we have inflectional morphology. Function words like to, eat, and be are free morphemes. Many languages, including English, also have bound morphemes that have a strictly grammatical function. They mark properties such as tense, number, person, and so forth. So, such bound morphemes are called inflectional morphemes. Unlike derivational morphemes, they never change the grammatical category of the stems to which they are attached. Inflectional morphemes represent relationship between different parts of a sentence. For example, as expresses the relationship between the verb and the third person singular subject. In expresses the relationship between the time the utterance is spoken, example noun, and the time of the event. And then we have the hierarchical structure of words. In this topic, we saw earlier that morphemes are added in a fixed order. This order reflects the hierarchical structure of the word. A word is not a simple sequence of morphemes. It has an internal structure. And then there's also, you can read the rest, okay? And then we have also other morphological process. There's peg formation, compounds, and yeah, we have peg formation and compounds. For peg formation is a new word may enter the language because of an incorrect morphology analysis. For example, pedal was derived from peddler on the mistaken assumption that the was the genitive suffix. Such words are called peg formation. And for compounds, two or more words may be joined to form new, and that is compound words. Some compounds that have been introduced fairly recently into English are Facebook, YouTube, power nap, and carjack. When the two words are in the same grammatical category, the compound will also be in this category. And then there's a morphological analysis. Identifying morphemes. You can look at the list. To determine what the morphemes are in such a list, the first thing a field linguist would do is to see if some forms mean same thing in different words. That is to look for recurring forms. We find them ugly occurs in ugly, uglier, and ugliest, all of which include the meaning fair and attractive. We can therefore conclude that following morphemes occur in English: ugly root morpheme, pretty root morpheme, tall root morpheme, urban morpheme, comparative, est, bound morpheme, superlative. As we proceed, we find other words that end with er, like singer, lover, bomber, writer, teacher, in which er ending does not mean comparative. But when attached to a verb, changes it into noun verbs like sings, loves, pumps, writes, teach. So we can conclude that this is a different morpheme, even though it is pronounced the same as the comparative. So we can go to the conclusion. Knowing a language means knowing the morphemes of that language, which are the elemental units that constitute words. When you know a word or morpheme, you know both its form, sounds, or gesture, and its meaning. These are inseparable parts of the linguistic sign. This relationship between form and meaning is arbitrary. There is no inherent connection between them. And morphemes may be free or bound morpheme. Peg formations are words created by misinterpreting an affix lookalike, such as as an actual affix to the verb. Burgle was formed under the mistaken assumption that burglar was burgle plus er. So that's all from me about the morphology. I hope this explanation can explain you well. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.